Right, now the first torture test that Vanquest wanted us to do was a abrasion resistance test. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to staple both of these pouches down onto this board so I've got something stable to hold them with. And then we're going to take a steel wire brush and see how long it takes to tear these up. Alright, so we got our steel wire brush here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to count one forward and one back stroke as one stroke, and we're going to see how these hold up. Guys, I'll let you see there, actually very little even color change on the Cordura, and you see on the 1000 denier nylon you've already got quite a bit of color change. Let's keep going and see what happens here. Alright, that's a total of 100 strokes on the nylon. Alright, let's look. You can definitely see on the nylon after 100 strokes there's quite a bit of wear. Where the patch was once sewn on here, the loops are actually starting to open up, starting to get a failure. On the Cordura, we've got a little bit of opening up here on the nylon loops where a patch was sewn on there, but other than that there's really not even any discoloration. I think we've seen that abrasion resistance the Cordura does better, but this is a gun channel. Let's take this out back and see what we can do. Alright, real quickly I want to show you how I've set this up. You noticed before the board that I was using has a cutout here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a little target practice on both of these in the area that has nothing behind it and see how well they stand up. Right, I've got them both set up here, just leaned up against a burn barrel, and we're going to be shooting these with a Gila 22 Calibri. Now these are no gunpowder shots. This is just primer shot 22 20 grain projectile. But I just want to shoot both of these with this ammunition just to see what happens. We're actually going to be really close, probably about 15 yards. And we did pass completely through on the nylon. And to be honest, I expect the same thing on the Cordura. But this is just more of a fun torture test. Alright, I wanted to give you guys a real good close-up of both of these. Here's the 1000 denier nylon. You can see how after all those strokes with a steel brush, it's really worn out. This is going to be like a bag that's several years old, been through a lot. Right here you see the entry point for the 22. And I'm not sure how well this is going to show on film, but you can actually see the exit point where it went through both pieces of the nylon and then through 2 layers of the moly webbing. Here's the Cordura. Again, there's a little fraying, but it's not near as much as there was on the nylon, and you can see it's kept its coloring a lot better than the nylon. The nylon just absolutely faded as we went through and brushed it, and the Cordura not only held up better, it kept its color better. Here you can see the entry hole for the 22, and the kind of amazing thing to me is if you flip it over, you can see where it went through the outer Cordura layer and then the nylon layer, but then it was actually stopped by the first layer of the moly webbing there, and the projectile was actually laying loose right up inside here. So not to say that it's bulletproof, but it definitely did better than the 1000 denier nylon did. So we're gonna shoot a Roman candle into both of these. First one is the 100 denier nylon, and we're actually going to put the end inside the bag and see how it does. Be ready with the tape. Alright, so obviously we very quickly went through the zipper and the casing on the nylon bag. We'll look at it a little closer here in a minute. Alright, now we're going to try the 1000 denier Cordura. Alright, let's inspect the damage from the Roman candle. Here is the 1000D nylon bag. And we had actually a catastrophic failure on the zipper on this bag. I tried to unzip it and it actually blew through the zipper. Inside damage is actually not as bad as I expected, but I think that's because most of the firework ended up actually shooting out of the bag. And now the Cordura, again 1000 denier, but this is Cordura. We did have a failure here. The zipper is still intact. Actually looks like the nylon around the zipper is what melted. Stitching held. There's still stitching there, but the nylon that connects the zipper to the Cordura is actually where we had the failure. The zipper won't quite open, but we did have more inside damage in the Cordura, and I think that's because more of the firework actually stayed inside. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this torture test. Again, I think it's obvious that the Cordura number 2 held up better than the nylon. Tell me what you think.